A distant shakuhachi flute plays. Footsteps echo. A lone samurai silhouette appears. In an age of swords, storms, and ceaseless war, there walked a man who could not be rushed. A man whose presence made even time hesitate before passing him. His name was Miyamoto Musashi. The ronin with no master. The duelist who fought over 60 battles without a single defeat. The strategist who wrote the Book of Five Rings, not to teach killing, but to teach living. Yet Musashi was not born a legend. He was born something far more relatable, a reckless, stubborn, hot-headed teenager, who just happened to be unusually good with a sword. And it turns out, that boy would spend his life learning a lesson we all struggle with today: how to master time, before time masters us. Chapter 1. The Duel That Changed Everything. In 1600s Japan, there live a village where cherry blossoms fall. There live a young Musashi walking barefoot with a wooden sword. Musashi was only 13 when he fought his first duel. Musashi, of course, won. And this is the first lesson Musashi teaches us. Intensity can win battles, but only wisdom wins wars. It worked, but only for a while. After surviving dozens of duels, Musashi realized something haunting. He was winning because his opponents were predictable. They were trapped by time. Their routines, their rituals. He had no rituals. He was chaos incarnate. Chapter 2. The Battle with Sasaki Kojira. Waves crash on Ganryu Island. A long shoreline stretches as wind howls. But even myths face challenges, and his greatest challenge was Sasaki Kojira. The master swordsman Kojira arrived early. Polished, prepared. Historians believe he did this to disrupt Kojira's mental state. Kojira's frustration grew by the minute. Musashi understood a truth we often forget. When Musashi finally stepped onto the sand, Kojira struck prematurely. And in that moment of impatience, he lost. Musashi ended the duel with a single decisive blow from a wooden oar he carved on the boat ride. A wooden oar defeated a master swordsman. But because Musashi controlled the rhythm of time, while Kojira drowned in it. Lesson 1. Control the pace. Control your life. Most people today live like Kojira, always rushing, always reacting. Musashi teaches us a Stoic truth. He who controls the pace, controls the outcome. In life, the people who panic lose. But the person who dictates the tempo, who decides when to move, when to wait, when to strike. Chapter 3. The transformation from warrior to strategist after his battle with Kojira, Musashi change. He stopped dueling as frequently. He sought silence. He realized that mastering the sword was pointless if he could not master himself. This is when he developed his philosophy, what he called the way. Not a set of rules. A strategy for living beyond distractions, beyond fear, beyond the noise of the world. Musashi wrote, "Do nothing that is of no use," a harsh line. A simple line. But a line that destroys entire years of wasted life. He wasn't asking, "What should I do today?" He was asking, "What kind of person must I become so that the right actions happen naturally?" Lesson 2. Become the person who doesn't need motivation. Musashi didn't rely on motivation. He relied on identity, mastering boredom, mastering intensity, mastering repetition. He relied on identity, mastering boredom, mastering intensity, mastering repetition, not one-time habits. Not New Year goals. Not inspirational quotes. A Stoic, a strategist, a calm warrior in a chaotic world. He wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." Chapter 4. The Sacrifice of Isolation. If Musashi had been alive today, people would call him antisocial, detached, or too focused. He lived alone for years. He rejected comfort. He trained relentlessly. Because he knew something we rarely think about. You cannot hear your inner voice in a noisy room. Musashi's solitude wasn't loneliness, it was strategy. Today, solitude is where you regain direction, reorganize your mind, Detox from comparison. Sharpen your sense of purpose. Silence the emotional noise just long enough to find yourself. Chapter 5. The Two Swords No One Noticed. To most warriors, swords were weapons. To Musashi, swords were philosophies. But Musashi? He saw a meaning. He saw a metaphor. He saw strategy. He believed a warrior must fight with both hands, not literally, but symbolically. One hand represents mastery, the other represents adaptability. The long sword was certainty, your skills, your discipline, your routine, your path you have walked so many times. The short sword was improvisation. Your ability to pivot, adjust, evolve, disrupt your rhythm, and shock your opponent with the unexpected. Modern translation: your long sword is your structure. Your short sword is your creativity. One without the other makes you predictable or chaotic. Musashi mastered both. And he warned, fixation is the way to death. Flexibility is the way of life. What he meant was simple. You cannot survive by doing only what you already know. The samurai who mastered both swords, mastered time. Lesson 3. Your life needs two paths. One, a long sword, your strategy, your non-negotiables. Your disciplines, your routines, your values, your direction. 2, a short sword, your adaptability. Your ability to evolve, to embrace change. To pivot when life shifts. To respond instead of react. Most people focus only on one. They become rigid, stressed, anxious when plans fall apart. Some have creativity, but no discipline. They become inconsistent, distracted, overwhelmed. Musashi teaches, the warrior who carries two swords walks through chaos as if it were calm. And in our modern world, with distractions attacking from every direction, we desperately need both swords. Chapter 6. The Art of Not Fighting. Musashi walks with his head lowered, ignoring conflict around him. In truth, he avoided more fights than he ever accepted. A battle avoided is a victory earned. He wrote, you win battles by knowing the enemy's timing, and using your timing to control the enemy. But he also wrote, do not engage in useless confrontation. Musashi believed conflict wastes the one currency no one can earn back. Time. The older he became, the less he fought, because he realized something profound. A master is not someone who wins every duel. A master is someone who chooses which duels matter. Lesson 4. Most battles are traps. If Musashi lived today, he would not be arguing on TikTok comments. He wouldn't respond to every insult. He would look at most arguments and say, Musashi understood what Stoics like Marcus Aurelius also taught. The opinion of those who lack virtue is meaningless. In modern life, this means, not every message deserves a reply, not every insult deserves attention, not every drama deserves your peace, not every opportunity deserves your energy, not every person deserves access to your mind. Musashi's mindset was simple. Choose your battles, or your life becomes a battlefield. Chapter 7. The Discipline of the Empty Cup. A quiet temple. Musashi sits kneeling with a small teacup. Musashi believed one of the greatest enemies of mastery was knowing too much, or rather, thinking you know too much. He taught that the mind must remain an empty cup, ready to be filled with new knowledge, new experiences. He warned, if you think you have already attained mastery, you are further from it than ever. This was not humility, it was strategy. Because the person who thinks they know enough stops learning. And the person who stops learning stops growing. Musashi lived like a beginner, even when he was the greatest warrior in Japan. He studied painting. He studied sculpture. He studied calligraphy. He studied carpentry. He studied philosophy. He studied nature, not because he needed hobbies, but because mastery in one field comes from learning in many. Lesson 5. Reinvent yourself through beginnerhood. To Musashi, the most dangerous man was not the strongest, not the smartest, not the richest. It was the man who kept learning long after society expected him to stop. A modern Musashi would learn a new skill every year. A modern Musashi would question his own beliefs. A modern Musashi would break outdated habits. A modern Musashi would refuse to stay the same person as last year. Musashi would tell you today, your life will not improve until you release the person you used to be. And that is one of the most Stoic ideas of all. The present version of you, the one struggling, doubting, hesitating, is not the final version. You are a draft, a prototype, a blueprint, a work in progress masterpiece. Musashi reminds you, empty your cup, then fill it with the life you want, not the life you inherited. Chapter 8, The Enemy Within. Shadows flicker, the cave walls resemble a battlefield. In his later years, Musashi made a startling realization. His greatest opponent was not another swordsman, it was himself, his fears, his impatience, his ego, his impulses, his doubt. This is the moment when Musashi's philosophy shifts from warfare to inner warfare. He wrote, "There is nothing outside of yourself that can ever enable you. You must seek within. Because once you understand that, your anger is your opponent. Once you understand that, your excuses are your opponent. Once you understand that, your procrastination is your opponent. Once you understand that, your habits are your opponent, then you stop blaming the world and start training like a warrior, preparing for the most important duel of all, the duel with your weaker self." Lesson 6. Your future self is watching. Musashi believed every moment of your life is a silent duel. Not against others, but against the weaker version of you. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, your future self wins a duel. Every time you choose purpose over distraction, your future self wins a duel. Every time you choose patience over anger, your future self wins a duel. Musashi would ask you, who won today, your weaker self, or your stronger self? Chapter 9, The Wandering Years. After his greatest victories, Musashi did something that confused everyone, and still confuses people today. He left. He simply walked away from the fame, the glory, the reputation, the invitations, the challengers. He walked into the wilderness, alone. Why? Because victories can trap a man just as much as failures. Musashi understood that applause is a prison made of compliments. And once a man becomes addicted to praise, he stops growing. So he wandered, not to escape life, but to observe it. He slept in forests. He trained under waterfalls. He meditated in abandoned temples. He studied craftsmen, poets, monks, and farmers. Everywhere he went, he asked, "What is the rhythm of this place?" To Musashi, every village, every mountain, every craft had a timing, a pattern, a pace, a pulse. And slowly, he began to see time not as hours, but as energy. Not as a measurement, but as a force. Chapter 10, The 3 Timings of a Warrior. Musashi believed that timing was the true sword. Your strength didn't matter. Your stance didn't matter. If you mastered timing, you mastered everything. He identified 3 forms of timing. 1. Ken no sen, seizing initiative. 2. Tai no sen, responding with timing. And 3. Go no sen, anticipating the attack. Ken no sen, seizing initiative. Strike first, move before the opponent begins. Control the rhythm immediately. Modern translation. Start before you feel ready. Begin the workout, take the leap. Musashi believed, he who waits for perfect conditions dies waiting. Tai no sen, responding with timing. Let the opponent move first, observe their rhythm, and strike at the exact moment they become vulnerable. Modern translation. Patience, listening, observing. Acting at the right time instead of acting all the time. You save energy. You save willpower. You save your sanity. 3. Go no sen. Anticipating the attack, not reacting, not initiating. Modern translation. Reading patterns. Knowing yourself. Understanding others' habits. Seeing consequences before they unfold. Musashi warned, if you cannot see small beginnings, you cannot prevent great disasters. Lesson 7. Most people misunderstand timing. Most people today have terrible timing. They study too long instead of starting. They start too fast without thinking. They react to everything instead of choosing battlefields intentionally. Musashi teaches, your life improves not when you move faster, but when you move at the right moment. Timing is recognizing when to speak, when to be silent, when to train, when to rest, when to push, when to withdraw, when to strike, when to wait. He believed timing is not learned through books, but through awareness. The more you observe life, the more predictable it becomes. And when life becomes predictable, you become powerful. Chapter 11, The Cave of Revelations. After decades of wandering, observing, fighting, withdrawing, Musashi began writing. He settled into a small cave near Kumamoto, Rigondo Cave. Here, at age 60, he wrote a work that would outlive empires. He wrote it not for warriors, but for seekers of wisdom. For anyone who wished to understand rhythm, timing, conflict, and the nature of human behavior. The cave was empty. His possessions were minimal, his health was fading. But his clarity was stronger than ever. This is where his philosophy crystallized into a single truth. When you move with the rhythm of life, rather than against it, life opens. When you detach from your past, your future expands. When you master timing, you stop rushing. When you stop rushing, you stop breaking. When you stop breaking, you finally start becoming. Chapter 12, The 5 Rings of Transformation. Musashi never intended the Book of 5 Rings to be a technical sword manual. It was a manual for life. Each ring is a way of seeing the world, a framework for navigating conflict, timing, fear, discipline, and identity. He called these rings earth, water, fire, wind, void. They represent 5 dimensions of human experience. 5 pathways to mastery. 5 ways to understand time itself. Musashi believed you needed all 5. Not 1, not 2, all. For a man with 1 perspective is vulnerable. A man with 2 is still limited, but a man with 5, he becomes unstoppable. Chapter 13, The Earth Ring, Foundation. Earth is solidity, stability, structure. Musashi begins with earth because without a foundation, nothing stands. He wrote, know the smallest things and the biggest things, the shallowest and the deepest. Modern interpretation? Know your basics, master your fundamentals, understand your life from top to bottom. People today often chase complexity, advanced tactics, shortcuts, hacks, secret routines, instant success. Musashi would smile softly and say, if your foundation is weak, nothing else matters. Earth teaches, discipline before ambition, self-control before achievement, awareness before action, structure before speed. It is the ring of grounding. The ring of clarity, the ring of beginning. Lesson 8. Build a foundation that can hold your future. Musashi saw that warriors who mastered flashy techniques but ignored fundamentals lost duels quickly. Today, we lose battles the same way. We attempt intense workouts before consistent habits. We attempt businesses before financial discipline. We attempt spiritual growth before self-awareness. Earth whispers, slow down. Strengthen your base. Build your life like a fortress. Chapter 14, The Water Ring. Adaptability. Water is fluid, flexible, unattached. Musashi writes, "You should take the attitude of water. Water adopts the shape of its container." This is not softness, it is strategic adaptability. Water flows, but it also erodes mountains. It yields, but it also drowns armies. It moves gently, but strikes with unstoppable force when necessary. Water teaches. Adaptation. Water teaches. Rhythm. Water teaches. Humility. Water teaches. Responsiveness. Water teaches. Observation in battles. Musashi flowed like water, changing distance, rhythm, angle, speed. In life, water is learning to adjust your strategy without losing your identity. Lesson 9, Stay fluid, not fragile. Most people are too rigid. They break when pressure comes. Musashi warns, rigidity is death. Flexibility is life. This applies to schedules, expectations, relationships, health, careers, goals. The person who can adapt without losing direction cannot be defeated. Be solid like earth, but move like water. Chapter 15, The Fire Ring. Action. Fire is aggression, intensity, momentum. Musashi uses fire to describe the energy of decisive action. He wrote, "The way of the warrior is the resolute acceptance of death. It is about eliminating hesitation." Fire means striking boldly, committing fully. Fire means daring courageously, embracing discomfort, attacking life with intention. It is the opposite of procrastination, the antidote to fear. The force that turns potential energy into actual change. Lesson 10, Hesitation kills greatness. Musashi believed hesitation creates defeat before a battle even begins. He saw this again and again. Warriors who paused at the moment of action died. Those who acted decisively lived. Modern hesitation. I'll start tomorrow. I'm waiting for motivation. I'm not ready yet. What if I fail? Musashi would interrupt gently. Move, because movement is clarity. Movement is confidence. Movement of truth. The fire ring teaches that life rewards the person who acts, not the person who waits for perfect timing. Chapter 16, The Wind Ring. Others' Paths. Wind is the ring of understanding others. Musashi observed the strategies, styles, beliefs, and weaknesses of other schools, not to imitate them, but to transcend them. He wrote, "Know the way broadly, and you will see it in all things." Wind teaches awareness of culture, awareness of patterns. Wind teaches awareness of others' mistakes, awareness of competition. Wind teaches awareness of unseen forces. In modern terms, learn from others. Observe competitors. In modern terms, study human nature. Understand the world beyond your bubble. The wind ring is the study of other minds, so you can master your own. Lesson 11. Ignore the world at your own risk. Musashi knew that warriors who only studied their own style died quickly. Likewise, businesses that ignore trends collapse, relationships that ignore psychology fail. People who ignore history repeat it. Professionals who ignore context become irrelevant. Wind teaches you to see the world clearly, not as you want it to be, but as it is. Chapter 17, The Void Ring. The timeless state. The void is Musashi's most mysterious teaching. He describes it as the realm where nothing exists, yet all things are possible. It is not emptiness, but clarity. It is not silence, but awareness. It is the state where your training disappears, your fear dissolves. It is the state where your mind becomes still, your intuition awakens. It is the state where your timing becomes perfect, you move without thinking. Musashi believed the void was the highest state of mastery, effortless action. Modern psychology calls this flow. Zen Buddhism calls it no mind. Stoics call it tranquility. Musashi simply called it the void. This is the ring where time slows, life clarifies, and purpose reveals itself. Chapter 18. When the 5 rings become one. Musashi did not present the rings for theory. He offered them as a map. Let's reiterate. Earth right pointing arrow, who you are. Water right pointing arrow, how you adapt. Fire right pointing arrow, how you act. Wind right pointing arrow, how you understand. Void right pointing arrow, how you transcend. When all 5 work together, a person becomes aligned with time, not rushing ahead or lagging behind, but walking at the rhythm life intended. This is the state Musashi achieved in his final years. He no longer fought, he no longer proved himself. Because he had already become it. Chapter 19. The final lessons of a master. Near the end of his life, Musashi knew his time was fading, but he was not afraid. He had spent decades studying time, facing death, outwitting death, and ultimately accepting death. To Musashi, death was not a tragedy. It was clarity. It was a reminder. Time is not measured in hours, but in awareness. As he felt his strength decline, he wrote one final work, not about strategy, not about dueling, not about victory, but about living. This work was titled, Dakodo, The Path of Aloneness. 21 Precepts, 21 Truths, 21 Instructions for Mastering Life. He wrote them days before his passing, with a calm mind, a clear spirit, and a lifetime of wisdom flowing through his brush. Through his brush. They represent a man who no longer wished to win battles, but to free others from unnecessary suffering. Chapter 20. The 21 Precepts of Dakodo. Musashi's 21 teachings are simple. But their simplicity hides depth, the depth of a man who has stripped life down to its bone. We will explore the essential meaning behind them. 1. Accept everything just the way it is. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is clarity. You cannot change what you refuse to see. 2. Do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Pleasure is a visitor, not a home. Live for purpose, not indulgence. 3. Do not, under any circumstances, depend on a partial feeling. If your conviction is weak, your actions will crumble. 4. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. 5. Be detached from desire your entire life long. 6. Do not regret what you have done. 7. Never be jealous. Comparison corrupts vision. 8. Never let yourself be saddened by a separation. 9. Resentment and complaint are appropriate neither for oneself nor others. Gratitude extends them. 10. Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love. Attachment clouds judgment. 11. In all things, have no preferences. Flexibility in GT, rigidity. Adaptability in GT, stubbornness. 12. Be indifferent to where you live. Strength comes from within, not surroundings. 13. Do not pursue the taste of good food. Discipline is forever. 14. Do not hold on to possessions you no longer need. The fewer things you own, the fewer things own you. 15. Do not act following customary beliefs. Question everything. 16. Do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful. Tools serve purpose, not ego. 17. Do not fear death. Fear is wasted time, courage is timeless. 18. Do not desire to possess goods or fiefs for your old age. Security is found in skill, not accumulation. 19. Respect Buddha and the gods without counting on their help. Believe, but rely on yourself. 20. You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor. Honor means integrity, the spine of your soul. 21. Never stray from the way. Your way, your purpose. your path toward becoming your strongest self. This final precept was Musashi's greatest truth: master your path, and time will bow to you. Chapter 21, The Time Warrior. In the end, Musashi was not a warrior of the sword. He was a warrior of time. He taught us, rushing is weakness, stillness is power. Awareness is mastery, simplicity destroys confusion, identity is flexible, fear is a liar, timing is everything, purpose is oxygen. The way is personal, and most of all, you do not need more time. You need fewer distractions. Time expands for those who live deliberately. Time slows for those who breathe deeply. Time reveals itself to those who listen. Musashi mastered time not by controlling it, but by controlling himself. Final message: walk your way. If Musashi could speak to you today, he would say, you are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your way begins. He would remind you, strength is earned, patience is a weapon. Musashi remind you that silence is guidance, consistency is victory. Musashi remind you that fear is temporary, mastery is eternal. You do not need to conquer the world. You only need to conquer the moment in front of you. The rest will follow. Walk slowly. Walk deliberately. Walk with awareness. Walk with courage. Walk your way. And like Musashi, master time by mastering yourself.